Hi there, welcome to my channel. Thank you for coming back. I hope you're all well. I just want to speak a bit today, a little bit about confidence, how confidence comes and goes with many issues. And I think confidence is something that really affects everybody from time to time. So if confidence is an issue with you, maybe stick around, keep watching. There has been times where I've had so much information coming into my mind that I really don't process it, and it really hurts. And I find ways to duck out of tasks that I can't always be consistent and concise with it, which is really frustrating, because then I start to get a build up a task, and I look at a task or many tasks, multiple tasks, and I think I can't do that. I can't even do the most basic one, and it gets really frustrated. And then all of a sudden I've got these 101 things going through my mind, and those things just build up, they accumulate. Generally they accumulate, and I quite often find myself thinking my head is just like a big bowl of spaghetti, just going, ugh. And then I degenerate. There are no tasks getting completed. I want to retreat to an armchair or to my bed, or I think I'll put my headphones on, maybe listen to some music, but by then the noise is too much in my mind and I can't control it. And it's this sort of pain, constant buzzing of task generation. And then added to that, then suddenly I think, well, if I do this or if I do that, I'm going to feel much better about myself. Let me go out and buy this. Let me go out and book tickets for that. And I don't think it ever really makes me feel any better. It just, on the whole, makes me feel fairly crap and fairly, I've got something to look forward to when I do that. And, not so much with daily living tasks or daily working tasks, but in my own personal life. But then I end up with that fatigue, that horrible sort of malaise where I can't move. It feels like I'm swimming in treacle. Generally, do you ever get that feeling where you're swimming in treacle and you're like, I just want to come up for air. I need a break. I need some respite. And it's not there. So the irony with all of this is that in itself, by being here, that by being on YouTube and trying to start a channel and just trying to talk about things, I then become complicit in my own way of overpopulating the time that I have, the energy that I have. So then I start to think to myself, how can I limit things? How can I better organise myself? And I'm not entirely sure. I imagine there's a myriad of advice books. I mean, I've bought most of them and probably given most of them away. But there's myriad of advice books and of apps and, calming techniques. One of the things I'm working on at the moment is just whittling down the amount of things that I have to do, and this sort of loading my plate up. I'm now, instead of wanting loads and loads of variety on my plate, I want very little, really. And it has already, I have noticed an increase in performance from myself, but also that feeling of starting to want to live again. And diagnosis taught me one thing, is it's almost like being in everyone else's waiting room. And that's okay in a way if you're waiting in those waiting rooms, but when you create your own waiting rooms for you to do a task that you then cannot do because it becomes inconceivable to you that you can do a task, and you're starting to get entrenched in this fog and this lack of energy, lack of drive. So I think, you know, really things that I'm thinking about is how I manage my time, controlling my outputs, demands on outputs, shall we say. And also, when I am going through stages of hyperfocus, then how do I, you know, work on that? How do I then suddenly say to myself, right, you know, Will, you're going to calm down a bit now. You're going to take some time out. You can't do it all in one single stroke. Yeah? If that resonates, and I hope it does, please, you know, subscribe and like and follow the channel. Everything that you do, any comments that you leave and recommendations, anything you can offer as advice to me, all welcome. You know I'm not alone. I know I'm not the only person in late 50s to be diagnosed. So thank you for watching. Arrivederci.